Good evening, YouTube. We've got the Ugreen 6-in-1 little hub here. So it's USB-C. We do have, of course, a couple USB-C ports. Imagine one of them is just for power delivery. We're going to find out. Possibly two. We'll see. Looks like we got a couple Type A's. We got HDMI. Didn't really want HDMI because it's not like I'm putting an external screen on my MacBook Air. However, because of the limitation of just, well, let's see, two little ports, it really doesn't help matters much. What's not helpful is they really sealed this box up too. So, let's get ourselves a knife out and see if we can break into her. Seriously, they really seal it that good? All right. Now, I would have gone for one of those clip-on hubs, but because of the height here that the laptop is sitting at, it's not flat. I don't trust one of those clip on the side ones. Plus, they tend to take up both of your Thunderbolt ports. And they do have them now where it leaves the MagSafe port open, which is kind of good because we now have MagSafe back. Had it for a while now. And yeah, I kind of like to have access to all my goodies, right? So anyways, I don't plug a lot of stuff into hubs. So I don't have to technically worry about, oh, should we run power to it? Or do we need a powered or powerable hub? In this case, don't need it for me, but a lot of people do because I like to have a lot of junk plugged in. So I'm just checking here for our port allocation, and it's looking like we got two Type C 10 gigabits, two Type A's, and then power delivery. So yeah, that's pretty sweet actually. That actually works out to be a pretty good bonus. They only tell you so much in ads, right? So you got to kind of take some things with a grain of salt. However, this is going to be of a great help. I'm going to have to figure out a way to mount this that it's going to be friendly for me, for what I need. But anyways, yes, allow the device. And let's plug in our external drive. And we're up. The Yoda Master is alive. Okay. Ejects well. Got the next one. No problems. Piece of cake. Love that. All right. Now, as far as Type A stuff goes, we do have a Type A little thumb drive here. Now, there is no card reader on this, which made me very happy because I already have USB-C card readers. But I don't have anything that requires those anymore, so it's kind of like they're just going to sit in my box and gather dust for the next 500 years. Okay. Port works great. And this port. Now we're not going to be testing HDMI because, well, we don't have a monitor here. And that works great too. So, and of course, power delivery, so we'll be able to charge our device at the same time. No big deal. But we don't need to worry about that because, well, we're on a Mac. So these hubs work for Macs or PCs. Doesn't really matter. Now, I could have called this an unboxing first look, and that's exactly what I did, didn't I? We are going to do a separate review. I want to get this thing mounted, and I'm thinking I don't have a USB-C extension because it's actually in use on my laptop for that hub, or this would have been perfect to mount right underneath my thing here, but I don't have the space for that. So I'm going to have to figure out a different little sneaky trick for now. I'll have to order an extension. Just a short one is all I need, right? And then I can feed it through the back and right under here, and it would be absolutely beautiful, especially with the cable coming out the side. And then I can just have this mounted right the way I actually need it. So that would be awesome. So I've been kind of farting around with that sort of stuff with my CD-ROM for my PC. Mounted that underneath the shelf, mounted a hub underneath the shelf, which was actually an iPad hub, but it works on my PC because that's where the cable came from. Because I had a fixed thing because Type-C plug-in. Anyways, but it does feel to be like it's a quality built device. It does have a braided cable, which is nice. Feels like it locks up pretty positive. Same with the connection points here. They all lock up nice. HDMI looks nice and clean. There's really not much to say that anything would really technically go wrong with this. It's an aluminum case. We'll have to see what the heat range is like with, putting it through its paces, which is why it's not a review today. I want to do some heavy load copying back and forth between SSD drives and some thumb drives and just see how much this thing actually heats up just on its own. The other thing too is I do have a printer too, which is going to have to plug into here, into one of the Type A ports, and that's fine. So that'll take up one Type A, and then I've got my USB interface. That's going to have to go on as well. So for now, we do have to keep this hooked in like this, so we might as well hook in my interface, hook in our printer, and because that's a power delivery port, you don't have to worry too much about that. But it's a matter of keeping this in one spot. Maybe I could just sticky tape it to the bottom like that. Even that would work for me. I don't want to stick it to my speaker though. But let's see if it's got my interface and the printer online at the same time here. Where's my sound? Sound. There it is. Solo, yep, that's input, output, solo gen. That's one thing I love about Scarlett interfaces. Absolutely no drivers. Oh, sorry guys, don't usually almost sneeze on camera. Haven't been feeling well the last little bit, so, but it's got the two at once, that's fine. Shall we push our luck a little? Let's hook up an SSD. And what can we copy that's got any size to it? Oh, that's 36.2 megs. Not huge, but let's just take it across. That was like really fast. Okay, too small. Need something bigger. What do we got here? Mac backup. Gotta be something here I've got. Oh, let's take Skyrim. Let's copy that over to that drive. Well, that says 17 minutes because that's 30.53 gig. Mac timers usually lie, but it's going to be relatively close. It just jumped to 18 minutes. And I can honestly see that. Direct to a Thunderbolt port with this SSD drive, definitely way faster. Because, well, Thunderbolt 4, right, to SSD, it's going to run about 1,000 megabytes per second. But not when it's hooked up to this. So, what kind of speed do we actually get out of this? That's a good question. Okay, so we are going to test that and see what this porting is actually like. And that's our Yoda. And okay, and this is under a 5 gig load. Wow, that's actually impressive. So I was wrong so far. Ooh. Why can't it be written to? That's interesting. Okay. Unplug those. It ejected my disc on me. Okay. That was different. Yeah, that's my internal drive. Mac 1 terabyte. That's why I couldn't be written to. We were hauling out too much. So whatever amperage you've got coming out of your Thunderbolt port will be divided by every single port on there. So you're going to have to be very wise on what you plug in and how. And this is a non-powered hub too, so. But we got 957 and on the right reads 490. So at least we know what just went funky on us. But the majority of that power, I'm betting, is going to be taken up from my interface. Yeah, it just popped it. The interface just popped it offline. So this is going to create a little bit of a situation that's interesting. Yeah, I can't have both at once. Huh, now it doesn't even want to load it. I got power going to, oh, there it is. Okay, so it looks like we're sitting at one item at a time, depending on what it is. But we definitely cannot run an SSD drive and a USB interface at the same time. There's just not enough power delivery to the ports to do it. So, and I have no other way to deal with my interface, so I'm gonna have to actually unplug the interface, save up for a powered hub that's gonna do a better job. But at least we know where we're sitting at least temporarily. Temporary basis, this is gonna work, but I just gotta remember one thing at a time and unplug the interface when I need to use a drive. And that would include a thumb drive too, I would imagine. Would probably be the other thing that would snake it. So let's try that too while we're here. So we've got that. So let's just copy this to here and see what happens. So we can do a thumb drive and we can do the USB interface same time. Okay, so that answers that question. Now let's hook up my printer. And let's copy that file again. Okay, that's confirmed. So, printer, USB interface, and a thumb drive. This is a 64 gig SanDisk. That's not an issue. Adding this in is definitely a big issue. You got to unplug everything else. So you're going to have some restrictions to deal with. That's all there is to it. So I think I'm going to have to look around for a better hub solution down the road. But for now, this will do. Like I said, I'm not going to give you any kind of review at this time, other than to tell you that I do like the porting system arrangement. I like the fact that there's actually 2 USB-C ports, and the power delivery is nice, though it's useless to me because the MacBook Air has its own charging system. But it doesn't want to handle much, and that's not its fault. It's the fact that anytime you use a hub, every bit of amperage that comes out of your port, okay, is divided across every single port in your hub. That's how it goes. So you don't get the same amperage to every single slot, you get divided. So anyway, so that's what we got on that one. I gotta let you guys go from here. I am going to do some more testing on this thing, and I will get back to you guys with a final review of what I really think about it in the end, and if I have decided whether I'm going to try and find a better solution, or if this is going to work for me just fine, or maybe I found something that might even be better. You never know, but we'll see what happens. But at least we know as a single unit, I can still transfer files, because I only need to hook that SSD up long enough to transfer any files I've done for YouTube videos to that drive. It's my backup, right? And then it comes offline. I don't need it, so, you know, no biggie. But I do need to have my interface and my printer on all the time, and it would be handy to have this for when I do videos on my laptop, because they go onto this and go across to my Mac. So there you go. So at least we know we can do all three of those at once. So we've got some good ideas, and we're going to work on them and see how things go for stability wise, and we'll definitely get back to you guys soon. All right, so in the meantime, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Oh yeah, link below if you do want to buy this ahead of time of the review. Otherwise, stay tuned. It's going to be a few days, and we'll get back to you with a review on this. And we do have to get back to you on a review of the cooling pad. And if you did see that video, just as an FYI heads up ahead of time, that second port will provide power. Okay, I plugged in a cable and plugged in an item to charge, and it works. So it's a constant loop like I thought it would be. So see ya.